I'm going to bring you another story today about Anyanwu, the maiden called Anyanwu. She was beautiful, like the sunshine. Every time she appeared, everything would be brightened. People loved her, family loved her, villagers loved her. But some of her uh, mates, the maidens in the village, were jealous. They could not understand why whenever Anyanwu came out, everybody flocked to her. She brightened every occasion and people loved her. They decided to make sure that they would deal away with her, do something to her to make sure that she would not exist. One day, they lured her to go to fetch firewood. So she went with this group of young ladies. When they reached the forest, the first one, there was not much food. So one of them took them to another forest. In that forest, there was so much wood everywhere. They were getting firewood from all the place. It was so easy, not even to climb trees. It was all over the place. They were packing it. One bird that was in the one on top of one of the trees started singing to them. Ụmụ agbọghọbịa nkụ nọdara bụ ọda akwụkwọ unu amanazi kwenye nkwenye unu amanazi kwenye nkwenye ife jiri kozu kwenye nkwenye kunu na-akpakọ kwenye nkwenye unu amanazi kwenye nkwenye. Anyanwu listened and listened again and told her friends, I think something is singing and it's telling us something. Let's listen, because they were chatting, they weren't listening. So the voice came again. Ụmụ agbọghọ jelu nkụ nọdara bụ ọda akwụkwọ unu amanazi kwenye nkwenye unu amanazi kwenye nkwenye ife jiri kwozu ye nkwenye kunu na-akpakọ kwenye nkwenye. They got afraid, decided to go. They said, okay, let's tie our firewood. Somebody get rope. I will tie some other persons and some other person will tie my own. One of the ladies said, Anyanwu, leave somebody to tie your own firewood for you, and then you tie somebody else's. So they exchanged like that and tied each other's firewood up. And then they said, okay, everybody should just take the firewood and put on their heads without the help of anybody. So they all did that. But the person that tied Anyanwu's firewood tied it inside a root, a very big root on the ground belonging to the tree nearby. Anyanwu tried to carry her own firewood. She couldn't. The others started leaving. She kept calling them. They were not listening. They were not looking back. She started singing. Anyanwu lele, lele, Anyanwu lele, lele. Mụ na onye yiri jebe nkụ na nkwụ ma kwali isi n'ogwe o. Kwali isi n'ogwe onye na onye ga-ata ebo m nkụ lele. Then she was crying now. And they looked, they didn't go back. They continued moving. She started singing again. Anyanwu lele, lele, Anyanwu lele, lele. Mụ na onye yili jebe nkụ na nkụ ma kwali isi n'ogwe o. Kwali isi n'ogwe onye na onye ga-ata ebo m nkụ lele. The bird that was on top of the tree came down and told her, oh, I know what happened, but we have to make an exchange for me to show you what happened to your firewood. And then Anyanwu said she was ready to make the exchange. He said, what's the exchange? He said, I'll take your voice, you take mine. Anyanwu said it was okay. She wanted to go home. So the bird brought out his saliva. Anyanwu brought out her own saliva. The bird licked Anyanwu's saliva, and Anyanwu had to lick the bird's saliva. And the bird started talking like a human being, while Anyanwu was talking like a bird. Meanwhile, when the other young ladies reached home, their Anyanwu's brothers and the parents asked about Anyanwu. They said, "Oh, she was delayed in the bush. We don't know why she stayed there. Why didn't you wait for her? She didn't want us to wait, and we went home." So they were anxious. They were frightened. They were standing outside. The parents, the brothers, and Anyanwu came home carrying her firewood. And the moment they saw her, they grabbed her and said, "What happened? Anyanwu, welcome." She said, "Chop." "Anyanwu, what is going on?" "Cha, cha, 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 cha." She was talking like a bird. And then she started singing to them. "Cha, cha, 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 la, cha, cha, cha. Chala chata cha cha chata chala chata cha chala chata cha chata cha chata chata cha cha cha. They were all frightened. The brothers said, "Let's go back to the bush. Let's see what happened." So they accompanied her back to the bush. When they reached the bush, they hid themselves. And then Anyanwu started singing. Achata cha 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 achata cha 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 chata cha chala chata cha chala chata chana chata chala chata cha chala chata cha chata cha 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 chata cha cha cha. The bird that was on top of the tree started singing. Anyanwu lele lele anyanwụ lele lele mụ na onye yili jebe nkụ na nkụ ma kwali isi n'ogwe onye na onye ga-ata ebo mụ nkụ lele. He jubilated, ran down to start talking to Anyanwu again, and then the Anyanwu's brothers then caught him, the bird, and held the bird and said, "If you know what you did to our sister, you need to undo it, or we'll kill you." So he brought out his saliva again. The Anyanwu brought out her saliva again. They exchanged. Anyanwu started talking like a human being. The bird started talking like a bird, and they released the bird to go. And so up to now, birds talk like birds, human beings talk like human beings. So they took their sister home. Everybody was happy. The other girls were consigned to spinsterhood forever because nobody wanted to marry them. They were rejected in the village. They were abhorred. They were seen as the worst evil that could happen to any village. And that was the end of the story. Anyanwu became the lovable one, got married, had her own children. My story is ended.